Look up at the night sky and find that rust-colored dot. That is Mars, our neighbor, our target, our potential future home. For decades, it has existed in our imagination as the frontier of human ambition. But imagination is giving way to engineering. The question is no longer if we can reach Mars, but whether we can actually live there. This is not science fiction. This is planetary science applied to human survival. Based on everything we know about Mars, its resources, its dangers, and our current technology, this is what building a civilization on another world would actually require. Mars is not welcoming. Average temperature, -80 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmosphere, 95% carbon dioxide, less than 1% the pressure of Earth. Surface radiation, 40 times higher than Earth due to lack of magnetic field and thin atmosphere. Dust storms that can engulf the entire planet for months. No liquid water on the surface, no breathable air, no protection from cosmic rays or solar radiation. And yet, Mars is our best option. It is close enough to reach with current propulsion technology. It has a day length nearly identical to Earth's, 24 hours and 39 minutes. It has ice, locked beneath the surface and at the polar caps. It has the raw materials needed for fuel production, water extraction, and construction. It has enough gravity, 38% of Earth's, to potentially sustain human health long term. The journey begins not on Mars, but in the 8 months it takes to get there. Astronauts will travel through deep space in a confined capsule. Exposed to radiation levels no human has endured for extended periods. Cosmic rays will penetrate the hull. Solar flares will pose acute danger. The spacecraft must carry enough supplies for the journey, plus reserves for delays. Life support systems must function flawlessly for 8 months without resupply or repair from Earth. Psychologically, the crew faces isolation more profound than any experienced on Earth. They cannot step outside. They cannot go home. Communication with Earth involves a delay that grows from minutes to over 20 minutes one way as distance increases. If something breaks, they must fix it themselves. If conflict arises, there is no escape. Crew selection becomes as critical as engineering. These cannot be simply the most skilled astronauts. They must be people capable of maintaining psychological stability and social cohesion under conditions of extreme stress and confinement. Arrival does not end the danger. It intensifies it. Mars has 1/3 Earth's gravity, but landing a habitat module safely requires precision. The thin atmosphere provides some braking, but not enough to land heavy payloads gently. Parachutes are inadequate. Retro rockets must fire at exactly the right moment. The landing zone must be carefully selected for relatively flat terrain, access to subsurface ice, and protection from dust storms. The first habitat will not be a grand city. It will be a cluster of interconnected modules, partially buried beneath Martian soil for radiation protection. Regolith piled on the roof provides shielding that air cannot. Inside, atmospheric pressure must be maintained at levels humans can survive. Temperature must be regulated despite external extremes. Air must be recycled continuously, carbon dioxide scrubbed, and oxygen replenished. The first priority is not comfort, it is survival. Water is life, and Mars has water. But accessing it requires energy and technology. Subsurface ice deposits, confirmed by orbital radar, must be reached through drilling or excavation. The ice must be melted, purified, and stored. Electrolysis splits water into hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen for breathing, hydrogen for fuel and further chemical processes. Every drop of water is precious. Recycling systems must approach near-perfect efficiency. Wastewater from hygiene, humidity from breathing, even urine must be reclaimed and purified. Air is the second challenge. The Martian atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, which is actually useful. Using proven technology from the International Space Station, carbon dioxide can be converted into oxygen through chemical reactions. The Sabatier reaction combines carbon dioxide with hydrogen to produce methane and water. The water is split into hydrogen and oxygen. The methane becomes fuel for rockets or energy generation, but these systems require constant power and maintenance. A single failure could suffocate the crew within hours. Redundancy is not optional. Food cannot be imported indefinitely. Resupply missions from Earth take 8 months and cost millions per kilogram. A permanent settlement must grow its own food. Greenhouses become as critical as habitats. But Martian soil is toxic. It contains perchlorates, chemicals harmful to humans and plants. The soil must be treated, or plants must be grown hydroponically, without soil, in nutrient solutions under controlled conditions. Crops are chosen for calorie density, nutritional value, and growth efficiency. Potatoes, wheat, soybeans, vegetables that can provide complete nutrition in limited space. LED lights replace the sun, tuned to wavelengths plants use most efficiently. Water circulates in closed systems. Carbon dioxide exhaled by humans and generated by composting feeds the plants. Oxygen produced by plants feeds the humans. Energy powers everything. Without it, the habitat freezes, air stops circulating, water stops flowing, and life ends. Solar panels are the obvious choice. Mars receives about half the sunlight Earth does. Arrays of solar panels can provide baseline power, but dust accumulation reduces efficiency. Panels must be cleaned regularly by robots or humans in protective suits. Nuclear power is the alternative. A small fission reactor, similar to those used on submarines or spacecraft, can provide consistent power regardless of day-night cycles or dust storms. It is more reliable than solar, but more complex, more expensive. Health becomes complicated in ways Earth never prepared us for. Gravity is 38% of Earth's. Bones lose density, muscles atrophy. The cardiovascular system, evolved for Earth's gravity, adapts in ways we do not fully understand. Exercise regimens will be mandatory, multiple hours per day, using resistance equipment to simulate Earth gravity's effects on the body. But we do not know if this is sufficient for lifelong health. Children born on Mars may never be able to return to Earth. Their bodies may develop unable to withstand Earth's gravity. Radiation is the silent threat. On Earth, we are protected by a magnetic field and thick atmosphere. Mars has neither. Surface radiation exposure is manageable in the short term, but cumulative. Over years, cancer risk increases significantly. Habitats must be shielded. Time outside must be limited. Spacesuits provide some protection, but not enough for extended surface work. Medical care is limited to what the crew can provide. There are no hospitals, no specialists, no emergency services. Everything must be treated on-site with available resources. Surgical capability is essential. Diagnostic equipment must be versatile and reliable. Telemedicine with Earth doctors becomes critical, despite communication delays. A medical emergency requiring immediate intervention, beyond the crew's capability, could be fatal. Dental problems, appendicitis, broken bones, infections, all become potentially life-threatening. A society on Mars develops not from democratic ideals or utopian visions, but from survival necessity. Early crews will be small, perhaps a few dozen people. Governance will be practical, focused on task completion and resource management. There is no room for bureaucracy when life support failures mean death within hours. Decision-making must be efficient. Expertise must be respected. But as the settlement grows, social structures will evolve. Who owns Mars? International treaties currently prohibit national claims to celestial bodies, but they were written for flags and footprints, not permanent settlements and resource extraction. When corporations invest billions to establish infrastructure, they will demand returns. When settlers spend decades building communities, they will claim rights. Mars law will emerge from the intersection of Earth law, practical necessity, and the unique conditions of Martian life. It will not resemble Earth legal systems because Mars is not Earth. Culture will diverge. Martians will develop their own identity, shaped by shared hardship, isolation from Earth, and the unique experience of living on another planet. The question is not whether humanity can live on Mars. The evidence, the engineering, the science all indicate we can. With sufficient resources, technology, and determination, Mars settlements are achievable. What remains uncertain is whether we will choose to make the investment, sustain the effort across generations, and accept the costs. Because Mars is not a destination, it is a commitment. It requires technological advancement, international cooperation, and economic investment on scales rarely achieved. It requires accepting that early settlers will live difficult, dangerous lives, potentially sacrificing their health and longevity for the project of establishing human presence on another world. But it offers something no other endeavor can provide. It offers humanity a second home. It offers survival insurance against planetary catastrophes, whether natural or self-inflicted. It offers the perspective that comes from seeing Earth not as the world, but as a world, one precious habitat among potential others. As we look toward that rust-colored dot in the night sky, we are not looking at a distant dream. We are looking at the next chapter of human civilization. Not everyone will go, most never will. But knowing it is possible, knowing humans walk on another world, changes what we are. We become a multi-planetary species. We become something we have never been before. Could humanity live on Mars? The answer is yes. The question is whether we have the courage to try. If explorations like this help you see our universe differently, consider subscribing. These scientific thought experiments take us to places we've never been and help us understand what's possible. Your support makes this work possible. Until the next journey.